I think we're good. Now, through this, I may get distracted because someone else is trying to get into the meeting. I'll let them in, but I think we can go ahead and get started now. This is an informal meeting. It's a neighborhood meeting that allows us the opportunity to present to you what's being proposed, and it's an opportunity for you to give us feedback. There are two ways that you can communicate with us tonight. One is to just simply unmute yourself and ask a question verbally. The other way is if you open up your chat option, then you can type in questions there. What I'd like to ask is that we go ahead and do the full presentation so you can see everything from start to finish. If you have a question along the way and you want to make sure that we don't forget it, you can always write it in the chat. We'll go back, we'll scroll up to the top of the chat menu and we'll go through those one at a time. But if you don't mind waiting till the end when we have our question and answer period, we'll give you as much time as we need tonight to answer questions. I'm joined in the meeting tonight with Brooks West. Brooks is the owner of the Franklin Bridge Golf Club. And Brooks, I'll hand it over to you if you'll unmute yourself. You can kind of give an overview of what we're doing, and then I'll work our way through the first few slides.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooks West. Originally from Mississippi. I got in the golf business at 16, and it's really all I've done since then. I purchased Forest Crossing on December 31st of 2018. And so we are halfway through our 4th year here with you all. And it's been an incredible 4 years. Obviously a little strange with 2020 and a little bit of 2021, but fortunately being an outdoor activity, we've been able to do well and, reinvest a lot of that into improving the facility. And, really what we've said all along from the beginning, and hopefully tonight is just another step in that direction, is that, as you know, it's really the only 18-hole public course in the county, which is, we need more than that. But with the cost of land and all the craziness that's happening in this world, we just see the fact that we are that as a duty, and really at the core of what we're trying to build, not only is a community that makes people feel known and like they belong, but that matches the quality that Franklin is known for. There's a reason that all of you live in Franklin.
Oh, sorry, Brooks, would you unmute yourself? I clicked the wrong thing there.
Yeah,
thank you.
That was actually my family, I think. That sounded like my son. I lost my train of thought a little bit, but no, so really at the core goal of what we're trying to do is to match this facility with the community that we live in. That obviously starts with the Forest Crossing neighborhood and, the HOA. And if you look at the grounds and the clubhouse and the pool and all the things that Forest Crossing HOA does, and the arbor management and all the stuff they do, it's a very, very high quality neighborhood. And then even beyond that, you look at historic Franklin, Williamson County, not even talking about the new growth, but just at the core of who Franklin is, the core of what Forest Crossing neighborhood is, that's a high bar. And we want this place to match that. And we've shown a long-term commitment to reinvest in the community, in the golf course, to get it to that level. I've got a wife and 2 kids that you just heard talking. So I'm a simple guy. I come here every day and then I go home, and I don't have any other business interests. I'm not a developer. This is not an asset in a portfolio. This is frankly a calling and a purpose that I get up every day excited to fulfill. And that's really who we are. So, the sort of the guts of this project are the city of Franklin requires that if you want to put any additional structures, Greg can clean up some of my language, but essentially if you add any structures, you have to show them all of the potential structures that you might do in order to get that approved. So you're going to see us go through those 3 here tonight. And so that's really the reason that we're going through this, the reason that we're informing you on the neighborhood meeting side. And, kind of the second thing that I would add to that is that I would say the majority of this spawned from the old 18th hole. Was a lot of adjectives you could use to describe the old 18th hole. Hard, challenging, risk reward, or terrible. It may depend on what score you made that day or how you view, if something is really hard, if you view that as fun, then you probably don't like the change. But we obviously changed that into a downhill par 3. That's been open for about 9 months now. The feedback has been incredible. It's a really fun hole. It's shorter and really challenging yet rewarding. And we've already had 4 hole-in-ones, so that's really fun. But what that did was that created 7 acres of unutilized land walkable from the clubhouse. And being in the golf business and being a younger guy that pays attention to these trends, really the cultural trend you're seeing is that there's a compression of available time in culture today. People are doing more with less time. You've got travel baseball, and there's just a lot more happening, more trips and things that people do. So they view their time as less available. And golf, being a traditional 18-hole round, 4 hours and 18 minutes is our pace of play standard. And by the time you get here and warm up and then, settle the bets after, it's a 5+ hour experience from the time you leave home till the time you get back. And so, the primary reason people don't play more golf is, it takes too long, it costs too much, and it's, too hard or too, intimidating. And so while the 18-hole experience that we have, it's obviously a busy course. I don't have to tell you that, that. So, what we believe is the next phase of serving this community is we've sort of got the 18-hole experience. There's a lot of improvements to come, but the big stuff is mostly done. We opened the driving range today. We opened the putting green in November. We renovated the clubhouse when we first got here. We've improved the turf grass a lot, the drainage, blah, blah, blah. So, this is sort of the next step, we believe, to utilize the land that we have, most of which is floodplain, to serve the community. I'm obviously passionate about golf. I believe that the way it brings people together, the multi-generational aspect, even with the new putting green, seeing grandfathers with their granddaughters, fathers with their sons, boyfriends and girlfriends, anybody can putt. So there's just such a beautiful element to that with golf. And that's really what we want to capture, because a lot of those people are not going to go out on an 18-hole course, whether it be time or money or, intimidation. So that's the vision of this 7 acres, is to build a short course. No hole would be longer than 85 yards, very little forced carries, very friendly. And again, it's sort of to attract what I call the non-core golfer, right? So the core golfer is the 18-hole that loves that 4 hour and 18-minute round, right? And there's a lot of you that are on this call. I see Mrs. Higby and Joe Barbieri and the people that are like true golfers that love that. But there's a lot of people that don't have the time for that, or all those reasons. And so this course is really aimed at those non-core golfers, the women that don't play for various reasons, the juniors that the course is too long or too expensive for the parents, any beginner really, but also it can bring families together, right? So the core golfer dad can bring his son out because it's not the cost, it's not the length and challenge, and the frustration doesn't rise. So that's the spirit of what this is. That's the vision that we have for this 7 acres. And I just believe in my heart that we can generate multi-generational experiences to convert people to golfers for life. And, you know,
Thanks,
I'm biased. Golf, you call your own penalties. It's a game of character and honor. And I just think there's so many life skills that come from that. So that's sort of who I am and what this is about. And Greg, I'll turn it over to you to kind of go through the nuts and bolts of what that means.
Thank you. So the Franklin Bridge Golf Course is about 186 acres, all on the along the banks of the Harpeth River. You received a letter in the mail because you live within 500 feet of the property lines that are shown on this map. And that's a requirement of the city of Franklin. Matter of fact, the city of Franklin provides us with the list of people to mail notifications to. So we also provided the invitation to the city of, to the Forest Crossing HOA, so they were able to distribute that on their website as well. The property is currently zoned planned residential, and the only permitted use are golf and the associated facilities for golf. So that's what's currently in the planned district zoning designation for the golf course. Envision Franklin is our land use plan, shown here on the right. And Envision Franklin is not zoning. It's a guideline by which future development occurs. All of the area that you see in this tan color is in a policy called single family residential, meaning that no multifamily commercial uses, et cetera, can be within that, with the exception of institutional, so schools and churches, and recreational uses such as the golf course. Because this property is a planned district, any single square foot of additional building has to come back through the Planning Commission and back to the board and mayor and alderman for approval. So we have just started that process. Matter of fact, we're not planning on submitting the development plan until Monday. This neighborhood meeting is required by the city as a part of the process, but we do it on the front end so we can get comments from you, so we can get feedback from you and adjust accordingly. This is the overall golf course. There are 3 buildings that we're proposing to add to the golf course. One is a bathroom that's located in this area here. Currently, the Forest Crossing Golf Course has only porta potties that have to be serviced on a regular basis. There is a new turn shack building located here and a new training facility that's located here. The first is the bathroom. You can see here in the lower diagram, we've kind of expanded the view. It is right off of the cart path, right next to the 7 green and adjacent to the number 4 fairway. Excuse me, I have one more person I'm letting into the meeting. The bathroom is about 300 square feet in size. It has a men's room and a women's room. It is 160 feet away from the property line to the east, and is located in such a way that we're going to have to raise this area slightly. So we're going to be filling slightly the floodplain, and whenever you fill the floodplain in Franklin, you have to find or lower the ground in other areas to compensate for that land area. So we do plan to do that, and that'll be coordinated with FEMA. But it's a very, very small area that we're raising to make sure that the bathroom is not in floodwaters. The bathroom will be connected to the City of Franklin water and will be connected to the City of Franklin sewer. So we have access to both of those. This is our vision today of what this bathroom facility would look like. Again, men's room on one side, women's room on the other side, but just allow for a nicer facility on the golf course than porta potties that are there today. This is not final architecture, but this is our vision for what this facility would look like. Brooks mentioned a little bit ago about the 18th hole, the old 18th hole. This is where that old 18th hole was. And Brooks, I thought it might be good for you to talk a little bit about a short course, or what is a short course?
Yeah, so it's a lot of what I said before. I mean, I think it's a shorter golf experience. You know, a decent golfer might only need a wedge and a putter. No holes longer than 85 yards. So it doesn't require all the forced carries, hitting a bunch of shots off the ground.
No driving ranges here.
Yeah, no driving ranges. You know, I think a really important thing to know is that there's no golf carts, all walking. It's very much a park type of feel with juniors, beginners, and it's basically a big putt-putt.
That you use a chipping wedge on.
Yeah, no windmills, no clown's mouths, real golf, real greens, real bunkers, beautifully maintained, but yeah.
Thank you, Brooks. So located just below the short course, we are proposing the Turn Shack. The Turn Shack is a total of about 1,200 square feet. Inside the Turn Shack, there will be concessions, beverage service. There will be bathroom facilities, again, men and women's bathroom facilities, and a starter hut, a place for the starter to have shelter and to be able to tell people when they can tee off from the #1 tee box. The Turn Shack will also be a storm shelter. So there will be covered roof and open air where if it's pouring down rain, that people will be able to go and sit up under here and seek shelter. This is the architectural vision of what this Turn Shack would look like. So the two views that we see here along the golf cart path would be from the residential side. We have a view here of what this would look like from the golfer's side. This room here would be the starter's hut. This would be the concessions area, and then the bathroom facilities are located right here in the middle. So the city of Franklin requires that any non-residential structure adjacent to a property line be located 75 feet from that property line. For the Turn Shack, we have a small area of land that is outside of the 100-year floodplain right here. And the Turn Shack needs to be located outside of the 100-year floodplain. So we're asking for a reduction of the 75 feet to a distance of 59 feet on the north side and 56 feet on the south side. And in this location, we have the #1 tee boxes. So we're working to keep the Turn Shack also outside of the cone of play for the golfers. So we've got several different things that are going on that require us to locate the building a little bit closer to the property line than the city of Franklin's requirement. But through a PUD, we are allowed to ask for a modification of standards, and that modification of standards must be approved by the board, mayor, and alderman prior to proceeding.
Just to clarify, that's the #1 tee of the main golf course. So we would shift it slightly to the left. Just to clarify, that's #1 tee of the main course, not the short course.
Thanks, Brooks. We're also proposing a training center. Brooks, you want to talk a little bit about your idea here on the training center?
Yeah, so Scott Hassey has been with me for 2 years. He's the 6'6" guy that you see walking around. Incredible golf instructor that's made such a difference in so many people's games. He hasn't had anywhere to teach from a weather protection or to offer any technology to keep high expensive technology out of the weather. So indoor golf training centers have been around for I don't know how long, 15 years. So that's not a new thing. But our goal here would be to create a training center that's really open, communal, dynamic, really focused on juniors, and really try to be sort of the accessible training center and learning center for junior golf in Williamson County. So that's the goal. unfortunately, we've hit some challenges with some underground utilities. There's a major stormwater drain that comes from the neighborhood that runs right through this area, as well as a sewer force main. So at this moment, it's cost prohibitive to build this. But as Greg mentioned, and I mentioned, part of the city planning process is to show any buildings that you might want over the next short and medium term. And this is certainly something that we would want, but not something that we believe we can get to the extent that we would love to build it. So we have a temporary structure there now. So this would be, you know, sort of what we would love to have over the next, you know, whatever number of years.
So inside the building would have open bays for hitting out onto the driving range, protected by weather. It would have an indoor putting area and some workout facility, correct? Training facility area.
That's right. Yeah, fitness, indoor putting. Yeah, that's right.
So with that, again, we are applying for the City of Franklin Planning Commission on Monday. The City of Franklin Planning Commission meeting would be on July the 28th at 7 p.m. It is a public hearing, and you're all welcome to attend the Planning Commission as well. But we want to open it up to questions now. And again, you have a couple of ways to ask questions. You can unmute yourself and talk with us, or you're welcome to use the chat as well and enter any questions that you may have. And I'm happy to go back to slides if you want me to go back anyway.
Yes, this is Tom Davis.
Hey, Tom.
I am at the number 1 tee box.
Okay.
And I definitely oppose the building being out in front of my property. Also, in 2010, if it hadn't been for some of those mounds raised, the water would have probably got back to the cart path. Those mounds raised helped some of that. I bought this property in 1995, and one of the reasons I bought it was I liked what the backyard looked like, and in my mind, I knew that no housing could be built. Nothing could be built. That's what I thought. Nothing could be built. I just have a nice big backyard and a nice view to look at. Before I'm going to try to, I oppose this. I will try to get the mayor and the alderman and the folks to come down here and get on my deck and take a look at the area, because I just cannot take anything being built in the view that I have now.
And they wouldn't let us put a garden shack there. So.
And you know, they wouldn't let me put a building on my property in the back, so I don't know why they would do something like this.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, that's you know, the other thing I'd be concerned about with the par 3 or 85 yards is a bunch of kids probably running around and not knowing what club to hit and maybe be knocking the balls all over the place.
Lake.
I'm worried about the lake.
We have very few locations for the turn shack, and the starter hut and having a storm shelter is very important for the golf course. And we really believe that this will elevate the experience. I understand your concerns, Tom, and we really want to be sensitive to that. And I believe with the architectural design and really looking at trying to limit the impact on the adjacent neighbors is our attempt here. But I do appreciate your comments. Do we have any other questions or comments?
I'd like to comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've had a long-going relationship with the golf course. I'm a past president of the homeowner association, and you know, it doesn't seem like we have a great relationship with you guys. That you know, the homeowners out here would like to have some benefit of having you guys in the neighborhood. And that's never happened.
George, can you give us an example, I guess, of what you're talking about or what you would like to see more from the golf course?
Well, you know, I'd like to see, you know, some benefit of cost or whatnot for the neighborhood to, I know you're not structured to, you want to bring everybody in, but the neighborhood with you guys here, we like to have more, I don't know what to say, but we like to be more involved.
Yeah, I think
we'd like to play more, but the rates keep going up, and it's just not working. It's not a benefit for the neighborhood. That's what we need, is a benefit for the neighborhood.
Okay. I think we understand a little bit more about what you're looking for there, and certainly could give Brooks stuff to think about. Thank you, George.
Bob Vogt here, strong supporter of what Brooks is doing with Franklin Bridge, and definitely need great use of the space as designed, and just wanted to say a strong supporter.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate your comment.
Ready for my comment?
Ms. Higby, did you have a comment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We live through the change for the Part 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Higby. We can't hear you for some reason.
Okay.
No, I can hear you now. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. We lived through the change for the Part 3 and worked well with Brooks on that. And I think this is an exciting project. We're definitely in favor. But I just want a clarification of where.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to speak more into the microphone. Yes.
A clarification of where the restroom facility is going to be. But okay, we are in favor. This is an exciting project.
Sure. I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom into the big map. Well, let's see if I can show it on this one. Oh, this is better. So if you can see over here in this corner right here, that might be the best area for you to see. Right here is the bridge. And right here is the number 4 tee box, the existing clump of trees that are here. And then you have the hole number 7, which you play from this side of the river. So the bathroom would be located right here in that V shape of the cart path. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It's down the hill, way down the hill from the tee boxes of hole number 8.
Why that close? Why not back at the beginning of hole 7? Where you come off at 6 and tee off at 7.
Yeah, the proximity to the sewer line here makes this feasible.
Oh, okay.
And also, Ms. Higby, would make you have 2 opportunities to use the restroom after hole 4 and after hole 7. Yeah. So if you only have it on numbers, and really there's only the back left corner of number 6 green is not floodplain. So all of number 7 is floodplain or floodway. So there's really there's no feasible location to build it. And really, you know, when I travel and play courses, having a restroom that you can hit twice on a 9 is, if you have that junction, that really can, it makes a big difference.
Got it. Thank you.
We have a question in chat. So the first part is a concern regarding flooding due to cut and fill. And the city has very stringent requirements on cutting or manipulating floodplain. Not only is the grading plan reviewed or prepared by a professional engineer, but it's reviewed by the city. It's also reviewed by FEMA. And in order to do this work within the floodplain for the bathroom facility, Brooks will have to get FEMA's approval on the front end and not on the back end. So Brooks understands the golf course's relationship to the Harpeth River, understands the flooding potential, and we're prohibited by law to increase flooding on someone else's property. So those are all very, very significant and very serious things that have to be addressed with design. The second part is an increase in traffic to all Franklin Forest Crossing residents. Also an increase in noise from all the increased business you're attracting. So these facilities really are meant to provide a better golf experience for the existing golfers who go to the course now. We really are anticipating that having an actual bathroom as opposed to the porta potties, having an actual turn shack with restrooms and a starter place that will allow them to be outside or protected from the weather is important. And then the training facility, that's something that those patrons of the course today would benefit from. So I hope that answers or addresses your questions.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I'd like to kind of piggyback on that for just a moment.
Yes, sir.
We've lived here a little over 20 years. We live directly across from the golf course. And I want to be incredibly clear about this. I have a strong desire for the course to be successful. I like to see Brooks's motivation and his inspiration, and I'm totally in favor of that. I know that with growth comes challenges, and that, you know, in recent months, I've been a bit of a thorn in the flesh of Brooks because of the traffic issue. And I know that this is going to bring in more traffic, which I'm really okay with. So I have no desire to jeopardize or sabotage the efforts that are being made here. But I have a strong desire, incredibly strong desire for not just the amount of traffic, but the speed of the traffic and the noise of the traffic. And what I am asking here is that there be a consistent addressing of this critical issue, which I think that I understand that you don't have control over that, but I will never not believe that you don't have influence over that. And what I'm asking for is a consistent way of addressing that, which is a way of putting flesh to those bones in which you all talked about, caring about the community and being a part of the community. Because I'm a bit weary of the noise and the speed at which people leave and approach the golf course. And I'm just asking you to deal with that as well.
Okay, Steve, that's a good comment, and we'll have to put our thinking caps on to address that one, but I appreciate you making it. Let's see, we have a question here on the chat. What is the exact location of the turn shack? The exact location of the turn shack is shown here right on the bottom of the screen. This would have been the green for the old 18, and the turn shack would be located directly adjacent to that, right next to the tee boxes for hole number 1. What addresses are right at the building? I don't have those off the top of my head. You're talking about the addresses right here off of Edmund Court. Sorry, I don't have that information right in front of me. Maybe there's enough context with the island that's out here at Edmund Court to answer that. Any other questions?
It's essentially where the current number 1 tee box is.
Yeah, right at the number 1 tee box.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kyle Center. I live right next door to Steve, and I just piggyback off him. I've had a lot of issues with noise, and I know sometimes it's around like 6 a.m., even before 6 a.m., and that's gotten on my nerves quite a bit. Haven't had a chance to talk to anyone, Brooks or anybody, but yeah, that's really my biggest concern is if there's more construction, then I just hope that you guys can stick to the city ordinance and do work during working hours.
Kyle, there have definitely been a couple of times recently where my contractors have started before 7 a.m. and I own that, and I apologize for that. And that's absolutely true, and I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Kyle. Anyone else with thoughts or comments or input?
Yeah, I had a quick comment. My concern would be two things: light discipline on that building, especially the burn shack.
I'm sorry, Mr. Higbee, we can't hear you very well for some reason.
I don't know.
That's better.
But the lighting discipline around that turn shack could be an issue if, you know, it's going to have lights glaring into the residents next door. That you got to take that figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, there will be some safety lighting at night, obviously, but we see that being on this side of the building and not on this back side. Yeah.
Right. And the other is, I strongly believe that you'll have to have management of that short course. You know, you're going to have some people out there monitoring what's going on, because you are going to have younger players out there. You're going to have to maintain they keep their golf etiquette up, if you wish.
That's a great point. And you can see here on the turn shack where the starter hut is, you see how it has windows on all three sides. And so that the ability for them, and that part of the building is right here. It's right here. So they have full view of everything that's going on that way and looking down hole number one. And then they can also monitor the golfers who are teeing off on the number one tee box. But you're exactly right. There has to be presence. Yeah.
Well, both my wife and I support what's going on. And I trust Brooks, even though he took half of my backyard away from me.
And he is there every day if you need to get a hold of him.
So we have another function to go to, so we're going to leave your meeting.
Well, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
All right.
I don't want to leave anybody out or leave any answer or question unanswered. If you have something you'd like to add, please do.
Hey, Greg, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What is your estimate of the increase in automobiles per day to the golf course?
Well, again, these facilities are really meant to allow the golf course to function better today. They're really meant for the existing golfers. And right now there are porta-johns that are out on the property. And to be in a neighborhood with home prices as high as Forest Crossing and have porta-johns out on the golf course doesn't really marry well together. And to not have a training facility for golfers with the technology that's available today with the TrackMan system really doesn't give that elevated experience. And so Brooks is really trying to bring in just some buildings that can help him with the day-to-day management. You know, right now the starter has to sit in a golf cart with a radio on his hip with very little protection when a storm comes up, but that starter has to be out there to make sure that the golfers are getting off the course. And so
Greg, let me interrupt you. Brooks, I love you. I've been here for 25, 26 years. You can't tell me that this is a business decision, and the amount of increase in golfers it's got to be, you've got to know in order to pay for this, all of this, that your increase is going to be 10, 15, 20% a day. Have you no study or any thoughts on that?
Well, you only get a certain number of rounds per day, even in the middle of summer. And the parking lot, you know, will only have a certain number of parking spaces. So I think that there are other limiting factors to the number of golfers that would show up.
Okay, so you're not going to decrease your tee-off times from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, or you don't see any increase in traffic into our development?
Yes, sir. There will be more traffic to this course. Yes, sir.
Will you be charging for the little par 3 course, or is that a freebie?
Totally, we'll be charging. Absolutely.
Okay, good deal. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Brooks, we have a question. What's the current daily number of patrons at the course?
I'm not, you know, I feel like that's proprietary information. I don't necessarily, I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's something that I'm I don't know. I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but it's a very busy public golf course. I don't, you know, the capacity of a 8-hole short course versus an 18-hole championship course is, you know, it's not even the same thing. But are there more people that are going to come into Riverview Drive from the Home Depot side and the Forest Crossing entrance? Yes, there are more. There will be more people. Yes.
This is Tom Davis again. Why can the building be built closer to the driving range?
For the Turn Shack building, a lot of it is utilities. Yeah. You see the right here is the City of Franklin's pump station for their for the sewer, and so there are restrictions on how close anything could be constructed to that. So again, it's just another one of the limiting factors on where the Turn Shack can be located.
Is there facilities going to be built on the front 9?
Well, we'd love to add another. This is the front 9. I guess I'm confused by the question. Do you mean the back 9?
I mean, this was the.
We flipped the 9s. Yeah.
The back 9.
This area.
The back 9.
Yeah. So we'd love to.
Are we going to eliminate porta potties on the back 9?
Well, we'd love to have a restroom over here. There's a lot of floodplain and floodway more than on the front 9. So we're kind of working through that, thinking through that. But right now with this proposal, no, sir, there's not a restroom facility being proposed. It's just the physical limitations of the property.
Well, I got a physical view that I want to maintain.
Yes, sir. I understand.
House one that's going to be affected.
Okay.
Tom, can you better describe to me which of the properties is yours of the back 3 here?
The number 1 tee box is right off my deck.
So this is your house right here?
Right where the number 1 tee. I don't know based on that drawing there.
No, I'll look it up later. I just wanted to make sure I knew exactly where your home is.
It's the number 1 tee box is exactly right off my deck, right in front.
I got you.
So that building's going to be in our backyard.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else with thoughts or comments or questions? Feel free to use the chat if you want to.
Quick question. This is Adam Howard. I live on Riverview Drive, second house over from the putting green. First of all, thanks guys for the work you've put in and the money you put into the course. It's nice to see that going on. Really done some nice stuff there. Curious, a couple of things. I had to join a little bit late, so you may have already touched on this, but 2 questions. First question is what the build out time frame would be on this project, assuming you get approvals and are able to move forward.
Brooks, I'll let you address that one.
Yeah, so the soonest we would start would be January. The goal would be to start grading on the golf course first. And then turn to the construction of the small structure. We would hope to open in August of next year.
Okay. And is there anything that can be done for the pump station? It's kind of off, not directly in my line of sight, but it's a little unsightly. Is there anything that can be done around I know you've got some limitations there.
A little unsightly?
Yeah. That's the best I could come up with.
It's horrible.
So it's in, Greg, you want to take this one?
No, go ahead.
I mean, it's in the budget to put a very nice fence around the entire part of that easement. So where you see the gray, there's like rough gravel there now, right. And it gets weedy, and the fence that they have around it is old. Can you mute that one, Greg? Yeah, thank you. I mean, the goal, Adam, I mean, because that's an eyesore for our experience as well. So we knew we've been working on this, so we haven't done anything yet, but the goal is to fence that in and to hide that from everyone's view, and, you know, homeowners, golfers, everyone, while also giving the city the access that they need to maintain our sewer. You know, it's obviously a critical piece of infrastructure.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure. Robert, do you have a question for us? Go back on mute. Well, if there aren't any other last minute questions, we'll conclude our neighborhood meeting. I really want to say thank you all for joining us. We're not trying to rush off, so if you want to unmute and ask us anything, feel free to. But we really
Greg,
appreciate your time. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir.
Just a quick question.
Yes,
that
sir.
piqued my interest. This fence, how far north is it going to go past? Is it going to run all the way to the new par 3, or is it going to stop at the pump house? And is this going to be a cedar fence, 5 foot, 10 feet?
Sure, great question. I don't know that we've exactly drilled in on the design style of the fence yet, nor its location, but what we have recognized is that what's out there right now is pretty bad, and we need a better plan and a better looking result than what's out there today.
So when you submit this to the city, you're going to have that fence already into your plans so that we know. You know, I'm all for.
Tell me what your concern is so that we can address it. If you've got a concern about.
Well, I'm on the old number 18 fairway, and
Okay.
I don't want a 5 foot, 10 foot fence. No.
We're just talking about fencing the pump station off.
Oh, that's what I asked.
Yeah. Sorry.
North,
No, I understand.
Is it going to go past the pump station northward?
Greg,
if you stop it, I'm fine.
Greg, you're talking about the irrigation pump station. This is the sewer pump station by number 1T.
Yeah, different.
We're not doing
place.
anything different to the irrigation pump station by your house.
Okay, so the irrigation pump station is staying the same.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Because I didn't see a problem with it. Good.
No,
you got it.
Me neither.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we fixed that up last year. That's what it's going to look like.
That's great. Thank you.
So Alderman Berger is asking a question. Is the city going to require tall nets with zero discharge of balls into the river? This is an existing condition. Training or the driving range is an existing condition. Brooks does have a fence that's existing today that runs alongside the north side of the training facility, but because this is an existing condition, it's grandfathered in. So no additional netting for the Harpeth River on that location.
That river is over 400 yards from the driving range, so
it's well beyond the flight of a ball. Yeah. Thank you.
And I just want to say that, Greg, this isn't in my script with Greg, but like, I'm here every day. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to talk to me, please come talk to me. I'm here Monday to Friday from 6:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. And I welcome any conversation that you have, regardless of whether it's good or bad. I'm not hiding. I'd make a terrible criminal. I'm easy to find. So earnestly, I may not give you the answer that you want, but I would at least enjoy the respect of talking to you about your concerns.
Thank you, Brooks. All right, thank you all for joining. And we're available for any comments that you think of tomorrow as well. So y'all have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.